All right, Shalom. All praises unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha, Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone. And Shalom to the hopeful elect Akim that are teaching this word. Shalom, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha, Kodash. Now, as you can see here, it's a video I came across on the social media. And it says, benefits of copper and water. All right? And how, years before, before like the influence, well, really, the Rothschilds started removing anything beneficial for the human body out of the system. So before, people would use copper, in swimming pools. People would use copper utensils. I'll play this video because it's pretty interesting. Even farmers would put copper in the drinking water of their livestock because of the benefits it has on the body. All right. But what the wicked elites have done is removed all of that, basically is to degrade the human body over time. They did that basically. The same thing with the medical industry, which the copper falls in line with that. But the medical industry, they went from holistic doctors to basically these chemicals that the Rockefeller Rothschild foundations were funding. All right. So they removed the holistic style of nursing the human body to basically using all these chemicals, man, and going to their schools to learn it, etc. And that was all through the Rockefeller foundations, because they're heavy into the health industry, so-called health industry. So let me play this here, and I've got a few scriptures lined up because we're going to go back to this. We're going to go back to using gold and silver, copper as utensils, as forks and spoons, as cups. We're going to, because it's beneficial for the body. There's a lot of benefits from using these things as utensils. What do we use today? We're using all this stainless steel and plastic and all this bullshit that Esau's got out there. It's showing you he's the wicked, because he's reversed things upside down. All right. So even a lot of these utensils and things we use today is all BS, man. It's all BS. That destroys the human body, that destroys you over time, man. So let me play this here, and I'm going to read a few scriptures.
That's why they removed copper from swimming pools, because they realized that copper was so antibacterial that it was completely purifying the water that the people were swimming in.
Exactly. So copper, the first thing you said, having copper in the swimming pools, building copper swimming pools, purified the water. Same thing when you have a copper, you drink from copper cups, it purifies the water, man.
Without all of the harmful effects of chlorine, which we also know is $1 trillion industry.
Hey, and don't mind this fucking bimbo on the left too, man. She got her bazookas out, man. I mean, I just saw this video on social media. The information's interesting, but she's what she's doing, man. It's comical, bro. She got her bazookas out, man.
So when the copper was rested in the swimming pools, copper ions were being absorbed into the water, which hold an electrical charge. Therefore, when people were swimming in these pools, their bodies were absorbing this charged water, and we are electrical beings. Therefore, the water that they were swimming in and bathing in was instantaneously healing their bodies. And so if we then think about copper pipes, which are being completely erased, it then makes perfect sense, because the elites realized that when water flows through copper pipes, that water then becomes charged water, creating some of the most powerful water in the world, purifying it to a level no other material can match. This is another reason why farmers would place copper in their livestock's water bowls, because they knew that the copper would keep the water completely pure and charge the water. That's why they removed.
So, the wicked elite understand these things. So they remove these things and get them out of circulation in the system, and they start replacing them with weak materials that are really harmful for you. All right. Hence why today we drink, out of these plastic cups or these cheap glass cups that fragments get into your body. So they know these things, man. All right. Let me read this here. Let me actually read this quickly. This is Isaiah 29:16. It says, surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. For shall the work say of him that made it, he made me not, Or shall the thing framed say of him that framed it, he had no understanding? Exactly. So there you go. The turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. So who's that talking about? We always go into this, but the turning of things upside down is referring to Esau, Edom. He's turned things upside down, right? So an example of that is the health industry. Even before hospitals, years back in the turn of the century, 1900s, they would even place people in care. But what they would do in hospitals, they would even have parts of the hospital where they can remove patients outside, so that patients can absorb the sun. Basically, there was things like that going on. It was more holistic based. They had remedies before they had all these chemical pills and shit. They had remedies, and part of what they would do as well, when they treated people, they would have a section in the hospitals where they would actually have open areas where people can be outside. Their beds can be outside. So their beds can be outside, and they can basically be out in the sun, basically, because of the properties of that. So this is the turning of things upside down, man. And even the removing of copper from pipes, from pools, from utensils. I mean, you can still get them, but it's not common. Now it's all this stainless steel cheap shit now, man. So they've turned things upside down. So let's talk about the wicked elites, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds. Surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. For shall the work say of him that made it, he made me not? Or shall the thing framed say of him that framed it, he had no understanding? Exactly. So that's the mentality of Esau, though. What the Lord created good, Esau recreates, because he's the wicked. He's the complete opposite to the Heavenly Father. You know, we ourselves, the Israelites, you know, we are completely opposite to the so-called white man and white woman. We're completely opposite to them by nature, by the way we think, by the way we speak. You know, we're opposites to these Edomites, man. All right? So surely your turning of things upside down shall be esteemed as the potter's clay. For shall the work say of him that made it, he made me not? Or shall the thing framed say of him that framed it, he had no understanding? All right? So they've turned things upside down, okay? And let me read this here as well. This is, let me read this one here. 1 Kings 10 and 21. Because Esau knows this history, and Esau knows that, you know, the wicked elites, they know what's good for the body, and they know what's bad for the body, all right? And that was in the protocols of the learned elders of Zion, which they conveniently, you know, said that book was a joke, it was a lie, because it got leaked, basically. But even in that book, for example, it tells you what they think of the Goyim, which the Goyim would mean anyone that was a non so-called Jew, basically. You know, because they consider themselves the chosen people. So the Goyim would be the people, anyone outside of them. And they tell you in that book how they would treat the Goyim. It tells you in the book to basically feed them slop, keep them working and feed them slop, so then they basically can function, but they can't think. So that's why you have all these fast foods in circulation. They make you do all these hours at work to pay your bills, and then you have fast food options. That's food that's no good for you, but that keeps you just about alive to wake up the next day to continue on. But it slowly kills you. All right. But you know, now what's happening is there's like an awakening going on. There's a veil being pulled. So people are seeing a lot of the bullshit of this system, and it all goes back to these wicked elites. People are noticing that now. Hence why we're in overdrive of the New World Order, bro. You know, where this thing's being pushed heavy now. The New World Order, basically, we're in it. You know, we're basically at the brink of it, man. You know, the mark of the beast, etc. Because there's too much truth coming out now, you know. So let me read this here. 1 Kings 10 and 21. And all King Solomon's drinking vessels were of gold, and all the vessels were of the house were of the forest of Lebanon. All the vessels of the house of the forest, all the vessels, let me read that again. 1 Kings 10:21. And all King Solomon's drinking vessels were of gold, and all the vessels of the house of the forest of Lebanon were of pure gold. None were of silver. It was nothing accounted of in the days of Solomon. For the king, so there you go. So King Solomon, what was he doing? He was drinking and eating from gold utensils, gold plates, gold cups, gold forks, gold knives, all of that. Whatever you can think of. I'm pretty sure, extrapolating, his bathtubs were precious metals and precious stones and whatnot. Because these things have benefits for your bodies, for your body, you know. So these are things people did in the ancient world, especially if you was wealthy. Tells you that here, right here. And when we get the kingdom again, when Yahweh Shai returns and puts the earth back in the hands of the Israelites, you know, we're gonna have all this spirit back again, man. You know, our utensils are gonna be, you know, the materials of the earth that are beneficial for you. Things are gonna go back to how they once were. Right now, the way the earth is at the moment, it's not yielding its fruit because there's a curse over the earth, which the Lord said that would happen when Esau takes the land of Israel. The land, for example, will be cursed. That's indicative of the earth, the whole planet Earth. Esau, the so-called white man's in the rulership. So there's a curse. Nothing grows good in this earth. It's all poisoned because the wicked is in authority, man. Okay? That's why even in the state of Israel today, they have to have that kibbutz. The kibbutz is where they have to basically transplant fruits and veg into that land because nothing grows there. They have to have fruits and veg and whatnot transplanted into that land. The Holy Land is cursed at the moment. You know, it doesn't grow anything out there. Okay, so let me read this. And all of King Solomon's drinking vessels were of gold, and all the vessels of the house of the forest of Lebanon were of pure gold. None were of silver. There was nothing accounted of in the days of Solomon. For the king had at sea a navy of Tarshish with the navy of Hiram. Once in 3 years came the navy of Tarshish, bringing gold and silver, ivory and apes and peacocks. So King Solomon exceeded all the kings of the earth for riches and for wisdom. Yeah, because King Solomon, he would send out Hiram Abith, you know, and the sailors to the Americas, and they would bring back all these precious things that were, because America was it was not inhabited, you know, and King Solomon would send his sailors there, and they would gather things from there, precious stones, different kind of animals, and bring them to Solomon, you know. So you can imagine King Solomon. It mentions the gold vessels he had, but you know, imagine all the other precious stones and precious metals he would use around the house or in his cities, man, in the city in Jerusalem. You know, so we're gonna go back to that. We're gonna go back to this. You know, but Esau Edom understands this, and that's why he takes away anything beneficial for you, you know, out of the circulation. It even told you that. It said that the farmers would put like copper wires in the water because the water will be purified, that the animals would be drinking. And then what would happen when that animal is now slaughtered to be eaten, the meat's even better because of the quality of water, the quality of food that animal is having. Not like today. See, most of the food we eat and we buy from these supermarkets is rotten. The food's rotten. The meat is really rotten. You know, the veg is all fucked up. You know, once again, because the wicked elite is in that authority seat. So let me play this here.
Beneficial to drink water from an copper utensil, as it's famous copper bottles, copper jars. Yes, put your water in it for whole of the night. In the morning, drink water from this copper utensil. It is very good for your heart. It is very good for your hair growth. It is very good for overall body. But it will be more beneficial if you will start cooking your food in copper utensils, cooking your rice, cooking your vegetables, anything that...
Yeah, because example now, most people we cook from Teflon, you know, Tefal and all these things, Teflon. I believe it's Teflon, and that shit is hazardous for the body. You put oils in it, fry your eggs and steaks and whatever in it, and that is just completely destructive of the human body, that Teflon. And I believe that all goes back to like the Rockefeller Institute, or is it the DuPont? One of them elite families controls that trade. So you see all these devils, anything that they do and pump into the mainstream is for the destruction of man. It ain't for the benefit of us. Because you damn sure know these wicked elites, they're eating out of gold utensils. They have their cutleries, gold, silver, etc. You know, they do these things. They use copper utensils. They fry their foods in you know, in the best of what is of the earth. But to the general public, they give you slop and destruction. All right. I believe most of these pans are made from like Teflon that we see today.
You eat, cook in copper utensils, and you will get much more benefits than just drinking water from a copper utensil. The only thing that you have to remember is that you don't have to cook the citrus, sour food items in these utensils, as lemons, as tomatoes, or any of the milk product. You don't have to cook. Otherwise, use these utensils. They have been used from ancient time. I don't know why we forgot this tradition. So bring this tradition back and start cooking in these utensils.
But he said it's a spirit. He said that because I just clicked this video. He said they've been being used since ancient times. But he said, I don't know why we don't now. Well, the answer is simple. The turning of things upside down. The wicked elite are in the authority seat. That's the answer. The so-called Jew families, you know. That's the answer. The juicies are in the seat at the moment. But they're coming out of that. But that's the answer. The wicked elites rule the planet Earth, and they basically have turned everything upside down. What's good, they've turned. What's good for you, you know, they've taken away, and what's bad for you is what they pump into the mainstream, and what's, you know, what we ingest, what we consume, what we see, you know what I mean? They're turning of things upside down. So let me read this here, Tobit 13 and 16, because this is the future. This is a vision Tobit had. Tobit 13 and 16. For Jerusalem shall be built up with sapphires and emeralds and precious stones. Thy walls and towers and battlements with pure gold. There you go. There you go. So our city, when we finally get the Holy Land back, when Yahushua returns, Jerusalem, what did it say? Jerusalem, right, shall be built up with sapphires and emeralds and precious stone. Thy walls and towers and battlements with pure gold. So everything, we're going to have everything back, man. And the walls are going to be built with gold, you know, the pure stones. We're going to have the different kind of element stones and whatever it is that's out there, man. You know, because brothers are into stones now. You know, you got brothers that are into stones today that are beneficial for certain things for the body, right? Whether it's your mind, whether it's your gut health, whether it's your, you know, stones are beneficial for you. Well, guess what? The Lord knows these things. He created it, and that's how our kingdom's going to be built. We're going to have precious stones. We're going to have the gold, the silver, the copper, etc. It tells you that here, all right? And the battlements with pure gold. And the streets of Jerusalem shall be paved with beryl and carbuncle and stones of Ophir. And all her streets shall say, Alleluia, and they shall praise him, saying, Blessed be the Lord, which have extolled it forever. So that's the future. You know what I'm saying? Yahweh Hashem Yahushai, the future is we're going to go back to these righteous things, man. But the first and foremost, Esau's world has to come to its end. It has to be destroyed, man. Hey, what did the scripture says when the nuclear missiles hit in Peter? It says, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. So all this, you know, all these, that goes into that. These buildings and whatnot, and then all these fucking Teflon pans, and you know, because everything, when America's destroyed, think about it, even, you might not think on it on that level, but all this bullshit cutlery he's got out there is all going to melt down, man. It's all going to be destroyed. Think about that, man. All these fucking Teflon, because remember, Esau builds industries out of this stuff, industries of destruction, like the utensils industry. You know how much Teflon shit is in circulation, because he's got big factories producing this shit in mass, man, and it's all being used in homes around the world. Anyway, so you know with that, I'm just going to say, yeah, all praises unto Yahweh, B'Hashem, Yahushai, B'Hashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, and shalom to the hopeful elect. Okay, I'm teaching this word. Shalom, Yahweh, B'Hashem, Yahushai, B'Hashem, Rakah Kodash. Shalom, shalom.